Welcome. I'm Victoria Schneps, president of Schneps Media, but Dan's Papers is the jewel in my crown, Jane.
Yes, it is.
Here with Jane Hanson, our Emmy Award-winning broadcaster, who is joining us at Dan's Papers Roundtable, sponsored by Douglas Elliman's one and only Enzo Morabito. Thank you, Enzo.
Mm-hmm. Enzo's the man.
He is. And today I'm so thrilled to be able to have with us a woman who's become a friend, a dear friend, Yvette Aguiar, who is the town supervisor of Riverhead, the first woman to ever have a Hispanic woman, right?
In all
to
Suffolk.
ever leave
In all Suffolk.
in all
Wow.
Suffolk County. I'm so proud of her.
Fantastic.
We'll talk a little bit about her career. And George Hubbard, who is the mayor of Greenport, and who the town goes back to 1871, and I think your family goes back that long.
Not quite that far, but
Almost, right?
almost.
Yes, pretty close. We should mention that we are on the North Fork of Long Island,
Yes.
which is why we've got these lovely people here from. In this beautiful place. You want to talk about it?
Yes.
Oh, Shoals is a special place that has been built into Southold. And they reinvented the space of a motel into a beautiful 20 suites with 20 marina slips.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And the big, absolute gorgeous thing right over there is an oyster farm.
Mm-hmm.
Where they have their own shucked oysters that these women have created, a wonderful reinventing of the oyster beds,
Mm-hmm.
and is selling the oysters right here from Peconic River. So
fresh as they can be.
yeah, right out of the river.
Exactly.
And
So
this,
it's there.
Jane, this Peconic River that we're sitting at right here, which is our little bay, but the Peconic River goes all the way down into your
Right
town.
through Riverhead.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
out of
Riverhead.
control.
Yes, you know, there's a wonderful restaurant that's right on it. The country
Oh,
something.
the farm country.
Yes, so good. Had a wonderful meal there the other day. It's always, I end up in Riverhead a lot because I live in West Hampton, so I go there shopping and etc. And I've always wondered what was happening with the revitalization, and now here you are saying that the place is getting quite the makeover.
Yes, it is.
So let's talk a little bit about that.
There's been a lot of excitement. Unfortunately, under COVID, things closed down. As a real estate agent, I knew that residential in the East End was going up, but I also knew that in commercial it was going down.
So I'm going to interrupt you 1 second. Now, she is a real estate broker before she became the town supervisor, but she was a New York police officer,
I was a detective, a sergeant, yep.
and
Wow.
she got her PhD in
Business, Homeland Security Specialization. And a few years later, I decided to run for town supervisor. And unfortunately, COVID hit. I was prepared. I retired for counterterrorism. We knew everything. How to secure town, deal with medicine, get masks. Same thing as 9/11.
Wow.
And we were able to secure our
See
town.
why I fell in love with her?
I can see why. Right place, right time, too, for the town of Riverhead.
I
I would
would
say, wouldn't you?
Baptized by fire.
Yeah. There you go.
That was
Oh,
for sure.
my God.
Exactly. Well, so now,
The commercial, we decided to, everything was closed. The governor.
And nothing was going on for
Nothing was
years
going-
until this woman came on as mayor. But not mayor, I'm sorry. You're the mayor. You're the town supervisor.
so just give us a little snapshot of what you're doing, because we don't have, as much as we'd like to, we don't have time to talk about every single part of this because it's so amazing.
Sure.
So just give us the highlights.
So we bought 3 buildings under COVID, approximately a year later, which is unheard of. We knocked down 2, and that started to revitalize. People started buying buildings. They were paying a lot more for the cost of the buildings, and we received the Moody's upgrade, which is the only town in Suffolk right after COVID, and that just started. Buildings, every building on Main Street has been purchased. We brought drag racing in. We We
Outside of Riverhead, not on Main Street.
I
Let's clear that up. That's correct.
She knows her drag race.
which was a big boost under COVID. Restaurants were running out of food. They couldn't find a hotel room. Walmart, Target, everybody was.
Because the famous Target Mall is right in the town of Riverhead.
I know them all.
I just discovered it.
The Island Water Park, 22 years in the making.
It's opening in fall. We're hoping
It's a year-round location.
indoors.
It's a destination. And it's going to have surfing, indoor surfing all year
Oh, that'll
round.
be fun.
And show you a picture of it. This is the actual pool. It's in.
Wow, look at that. I don't know if we can see it, but we'll show it later.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Production, but
It was,
that's great.
it was waiting around for 20 odd years until Yvette became the town supervisor, and she put on the agenda to get it done.
That's
It's being
amazing.
constructed, the Aguiar Park, the largest in the world. And we're going to also have,
How about talk about a little bit? I love this RXR project around the railroad station. Talk a little bit about that.
yes, the railroad station. So, we decided to do a dual initiative to work off each other with grants and maybe some of the same developers, which were great. And so our most blighted area is the train station and RXR, which is a phenomenal company with Georgia Green partnered up, and they have faith in us. It was all progressive. It didn't happen overnight. It wasn't one person. I could not have done this without my employees and being able to meet them. And this is what hopefully our train station is going to look like.
Oh, that is going to be wonderful.
It's bringing really a revitalization and a renaissance to Riverhead.
Yeah.
So I've been there since the 1970s, and to think the world is turned upside down with you as the town supervisor and you as the mayor of Greenport.
Yes.
Oh my God! You said you've been discovered.
Yeah.
You really have. I mean, so many people call me up and say, meet me for dinner in Greenport. And at first I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Now I know why.
Well, exactly. It's convenient by bus, by train,
By boat.
by boat.
That's
Any way you
what
want
I've
to get
done.
there. So, when we've done like toll ships and things like that, we've had specials on the train to get people not to bring cars, to hop on the train,
And parking
then go
is a
ahead,
problem.
everywhere else. And yes, parking can be, it's been a problem for many years. But we're working on, trying to alleviate some of that. We're looking at expanding up on Moore's Lane, where we have the baseball fields and the skate park and all. We're putting in the mini railroad they used to run in Greenport many years ago on somebody's private property. The Rotary is working on getting donations, and we're building, putting the mini railroad. It's about half done now. And we want to redo the old fireman's track on Moore's Lane and lighting, parking, and everything else, and make people do that and park up there and take shuttles into the village.
Yeah, that's a good idea because I am telling you, I've driven around. But it's been worth it.
Yes.
It's
So
really
my
worth it.
favorite thing there, I know the food is great, and this is wonderful. Claudio's right on the water where you're supposed to have your best fish. But I love the carousel. I'm the little kid in me that's gone for the gold ring.
Yes.
Did you have to go there?
Yes, Joe is all right.
The head supervisor and the owner, the present owner, which is Greenport.
I didn't know there was a feud going on about the carousel.
What?
The carousel came from Riverhead.
Yes. So when
You let somebody steal it?
well, this is why it's a feud, and Vicki had to go there.
Of course she.
So Grumman Property, when they sold the property, they had thousands and thousands of employees, and they used to hold an annual picnic, barbecue picnic, the largest in the world, and they had a train going around, and they had a carousel. So when they sold the property, there was no interest, and former mayor Dave Capel discovered it in a shed in Riverhead.
The Greenport
Mayor, yes, and
Yes.
then
in Riverhead.
and he arranged for it to be removed. And so it's, but ownership is
It
perception,
happens,
right?
yep.
And so I was walking down the other day. I said, should I go on there? Maybe I don't. Should I? So we might have to talk.
Yep.
Battle of the towns, or the battle of the
Yeah, but it was it was down on Carpenter Street at first, in an old shipyard building. They had it there. Then they built a steel shed and had it on the corner of 3rd Street and Front Street until Mitchell Park was redeveloped. At the time, there was a fire at Mitchell's. The village worked on that, ended up taking possession of the property and then rebuilding the whole thing. And then they made a permanent home for it in Mitchell Park. which was the best thing that happened to Greenport. That spurred a lot of the development and the interest in Greenport. We do Monday night dances in the park now, which draws 500 to 1,000 people. Free concerts, every Monday night during the summer. And people, they get their pizza and drinks or whatever from local restaurants, go sit down, eat their ice cream, and then just free concerts, that happen in the park.
And it's also on water.
Yes, directly right on the water.
Now, are you on the Peconic River too?
Yeah.
So the Peconic River is really what's exciting for Riverhead, Jane, is that nobody realized that the Peconic River goes right to the downtown of
You
Riverhead.
couldn't see it for years. I mean, that's why the restaurant I was talking about, that farm kitchen, whatever it's called.
Farm country kitchen.
Because you can sit right on the bank of the river. And I looked at it and went, wait a minute, what's with this river here?
It's our jewel. It's our jewel, and we're highlighting it. So everything's going to be on the riverfront. And we're refocusing Main Street to the river. I don't know who designed it. I'm not going to go back to who it was.
You can't
so
go
I
back.
have to deal with reality. And so we'll be designing. Have you heard of the Peconic County Brewery? It was designed. It's in the back. They opened in the middle of COVID. For 4 months, they were at max capacity. You're sitting right on the riverfront, having your beer with fire pits. Yeah, come by. We'll take.
So I have to put a little commercial in here for my dear friend Joe Petroselli, who literally took from the ground up. He just tore down a building and built the aquarium in Riverhead.
Oh, of course.
And it is a world-class aquarium right in the heart of Riverhead on Main Street. And he built a hotel, and he built a restaurant, and then he built another hotel. So are there more hotels in our future in Riverhead?
Possibly. We're looking for a boutique hotel on the riverfront, which is going to add. But Joe had faith in us when no one else did. And he took a big gamble. He put a lot of money into it. It's our anchor there, and we're building upon that.
That's fantastic. Good for you. You must love the fact in Greenport that it's been discovered, as you call it, but the fact that so many more people are now coming to the North Fork. And it's not just that. I know a lot of people who take the ferry, like from Sag Harbor to Shelter to Greenport, just for dinner for fun. So
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it pretty much offers anything, any kind of food you'd like. You can find it there. The shops and all are great. A lot of, all the souvenir shops and stuff like that. We're missing a hardware store, which we need to try to get that back in place. We have a vacant building, used to be the arcade, which was a combination of every kind of store, everything in the store that you would want. We're trying to work and see if we get something going with that again.
Vicki can help you.
Yes.
She can do anything.
I love the connecting of people. That's my joy, is the networking people
exactly.
together.
And just see people walking around, just looking at everything that's there. They come by boat, they hear about it. Our marina is full, booked up for the whole summer. Has been, for the past couple of years, that's really taken off.
Now, you have a town marina, don't you, where people can come in on their boat and just for an hour or two stop in and
We have a visitor's dock at Mitchell Park Marina.
Right.
Visitors'
That's what it
docks,
was.
they can come over there and just tie up. It's up to 25-foot boats.
Right.
So they can tie up there for free and just shop, have dinner, whatever. If you go to the actual marina itself, which is right next to the carousel, they charge for that.
Oh, okay.
But we have...
So the one that's by Claudio's, that's out there, is that?
The Claudio's is a separate property. Preston's, Claudio's, and then the Village Marina.
Okay.
But
I don't have a boat, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But if
So we have done
guys,
upgrades.
you should go visit them.
Yeah, we did upgrades on our East Pier to attract some of the mega yachts, and we're getting some of the boats that used to be in Sag Harbor and now tying up in Greenport. So they bring in 200-foot boats and come in and tie it for a month.
Wait a second, let me stop you, because I was told the reason people with the big yachts go to Sag Harbor is the depth of the harbor allows for their boats. Is that true in Greenport?
Well, Greenport's usually a shipbuilding village. There's 95 foot of water right out off of Greenport. So it's a deep harbor port. Any kind of boat come in. The tall ships come in that draw 20 feet of water, whatever, they all come in there. So we can handle the water depth is not a problem at all. From Orient around the breakwater, you come right in.
So this is a big, big factoid that we have to get out there, because that is one of the reasons Sag Harbor developed.
Well, yeah, but if you look in Greenport, all those wonderful little captain's houses.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a reason they're there, because the ships could come in.
Yeah, exactly. Sweet Shipyard, where there are condos now at the end of Bay Avenue, Central Avenue, and all. I mean, they were doing old minesweeper stuff like that back in World War II, and before that was a huge industry in Greenport. Along with the fishing fleets that used to be there.
So what is your, God bless you, Bill, Yvette and her plans for Riverhead, which is exploding. Tell me about your plans. What's your pet project as the mayor?
Okay, right now, finishing the mini railroad, getting that back up and go, because it's something more for the kids to do. We don't want it to just be restaurants and bars for adults.
Yeah.
We want to try to take care of the kids. So Moore's Lane is a big project that we're working on with the softball field, the skate park. We have volunteers now that put together a group that are rebuilding the skate park. They're having a festival on August 6th. If anybody wants to come, they got bands playing, everything else right on Moore's Lane. So we're trying to get that done. We've done over the past 7 years that I've been mayor, we've paved over half the roads. A lot of them haven't been done in quite a while. So we're continuing that. We're doing curbs and sidewalks. We're also trying to reconfigure the ferry terminal for North Ferry.
Mm-hmm.
This ferry traffic they've increased a lot of business on Shelter Island. And the ferry line some days are an hour, hour and a half long.
Yep.
All the way back past 7-Eleven, so you can see how far that goes all the way around. We're working on, we have a whole design all set up. We're just waiting on the state DOT to get final approval for it. And the ferry queue will end up looking more like Cross Sound Ferry. You one entrance in and 6 lanes of traffic instead of going down through the residential streets.
Because I've waited in those lines.
But if I lived on those houses right there, I'd be upset if I couldn't get out of my driveway every day, at 8:30 to try to get to work if you couldn't do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it sounds like you've got control. Now, how many years is your family actually in Greenport?
All my life. I'm in the house that my grandfather built back in the 20s. And so, they passed away. I moved in there. My father was on the village board for 35 years, between mayor and trustee before me.
So
it's in his blood, Jane. It's in his blood.
I guess.
Yes. So there's been a mayor on the village board for almost, I'd say, 55 years now.
And you're from your
my father and myself, because I was deputy mayor for 8 years and mayor now for 7.5. So I've been in 15. He had 35. So
wait a second. We in New York City have term limits for our people. Sounds like you don't have term limits.
There's no term limits in Greenport. If you're doing a good job, the term limit is controlled by the public. If you're
I
doing a
always
good job,
believed in that.
What
about you, Yvette? Tell me.
Unfortunately, we have a 2-year term, and we do have term limits, 12 years.
Just 12 years. Because I know my friend Claire Schulman had been borough president for 16 years. And she said, I needed that time to develop my projects.
Yeah,
and that's why the continuity of leadership is so critical. So I agree with you that the term limit should be at the ballot box.
Except when you have somebody that isn't so good, then you want to get rid of them right away.
I think we got 2 great people.
Yeah, I do too. I do think, 2 years is not enough time to actually accomplish it.
Especially 3 months after you got in, COVID hits.
Yeah, really. Well, you're doing a great job. I love it. This is wonderful.
Sorry,
thank you.
Woman power.
That's perfectly fine.
We are so happy to have had you there, Aguiar, with us, the town supervisor of Riverhead.
And George Hubbard, who is the mayor of Greenport.
Exactly.
Not to be mixed up with Greenpoint in Brooklyn.
Yes. I'm just working with Greenpoint, Brooklyn. I'm so
That's right. We're Greenport here, which is a beautiful incorporated village. And thank you both so much for being with us today.
Well, thank you for having me.
It was great
Just to talk about it.
This is Victoria Steps. I'm thanking Enzo Morbido and Douglas Elliman for sponsoring this. Jane?
And Jane Hansen saying bye-bye. See you next time, and thanks so much for joining us.
Bye now.
Be safe, everyone.